Good evening, welcome to Central News for Thursday the 14th of November. I'm Hilary Entwistle. One Hamilton woman has found herself the owner of a beauty business, Kiss and Makeup New Zealand, after starting what she viewed as a simple blogging page on Facebook. Facebook is for many providing to be the new way to do business, providing entrepreneurs with no startup costs, the only overheads being product and transport further down the line. Sarah Ord says that the response to her page surprised her and has encouraged many others to start up business ideas via Facebook.
I had no intention of creating a business from my blog, Kiss and Makeup, but I knew my audience and I could create conversations with them, so I think that's what was my point of differentiation. I wasn't promoting a product, I was onto a good thing.
The 2013 Bridge to Bridge Water Ski Classic celebrates 30 years of extreme water sports on the Waikato River this November. The event will see a weekend of boat and water ski racing, with boats from all over New Zealand and Australia competing. Race organiser Brad Dutton says the weekend is full of action and entertainment and is something that anyone will enjoy.
People should come to the Rollo's Marine Yamaha Bridge to Bridge Water Ski Classic for 2013 because it's just a great day out for the family, plenty of action on and off the water, and get to see some seriously fast, cool boats doing huge speeds down the river.
Staff at Newmount Waihi Gold are facing an uncertain future and could be temporarily laid off. The company is looking at ways of keeping staff employed between when production stops at the Trio and Favona mines and work begins on the Corenso underground mine. Newmount External Affairs Coordinator Kit Wilson says the hearing process to get approval for the Corenso mine took longer than expected, and the company now faces a stopgap in work. Now for our region's weather for Friday. Hamilton fine apart from some evening cloud creeping in and light winds. Your expected high is 21 and an overnight low of 7. Tauranga, your Friday will be fine with light winds and an expected high of 22 and an overnight low of 10. Just ahead, the Southern Pipeline is being diverted. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. A new councillor is now the Deputy Mayor of Tauranga City. I spoke with him about the progress of some big projects, including the Southern Pipeline.
The Southern Pipeline is one of the biggest capital projects the council's undertaking, along with the upgrade of the Timanga treatment station. Now, at the moment, the plan was to take the pipeline across from Chapel Street, but there's actually now a potential new route from Memorial Park straight across the harbour. Now, clearly that is a major investigation. That will have a major impact. If we can do that, though, it'll save many millions of dollars. And so this is what we're looking at right now. In fact, tomorrow, as a council, we are having a very full briefing on the whole stormwater issue and also the Southern Pipeline and how, where it's at the moment. And so I'll be in a much better position to comment after that. But certainly, the council is committed to that Southern Pipeline, and so that's something that we'll be working through as the best possible way that we can for the benefit of ratepayers and residents of Tauranga City.
What would you like to be seeing done with Route K?
Well, Route K, that is a very controversial topic. At the moment, there is talk of it being handed over, the actual asset, as it were, being handed over to NZTA. But the debt staying on our books for at least 35 years. Now that, 35 years is a long time, to be having the debt on our books, and also, of course, accumulating interest as we go. And then, of course, between now and then, a lot can happen in terms of change of government policy. So that is definitely something that, I'm concerned to get to the bottom of. And again, later this month, we're having a very full briefing as a full council on Route K and the options available to us. But rest assured, we'll be wanting the very best for the outcome for Tauranga City ratepayers and residents.
Staffing costs, you campaigned on that. What would you like to be done there?
Currently, the Tauranga City Council has 473 full-time equivalent staff members, and that might seem a lot from people looking outside. At the moment, there's actually been a very thorough review by KPMG in terms of the fitness for purpose of the organisation, and we will be finding the results of that review in the next week or two, and hopefully we'll get some level of comfort that the size of the organisation and the way it's structured is actually fit for purpose and doesn't have a lot of extra fat in it, if you know what I mean. And so that's the sort of thing that we as councillors, many of us campaigned on that, and so we'll be taking a very close look at it to make sure that the ratepayers of Tauranga are getting a really good deal for their rates that go towards staffing costs. There was also a recent review of the remuneration packages, and apparently that has come out looking good for Tauranga City. Again, we just need to look into the details of that.
Now, the role of Deputy Mayor has changed for you, so what will you be doing now?
The previous Deputy Mayor wasn't such a hands-on role, and what Stuart Crosby has asked me to do is to come on board, be a lot more involved in the organisation itself, and then being able to take on a lot of his workload so that he's freed up to look at those really big strategic issues which face us as a city. I'm more than happy to do that, and I'll be also very involved in the community and being out there, I guess, as the face of the council in many particular events and functions, and I'm looking forward to doing that and meeting many people in the community, and also giving me 3 years of real good solid experience in the role. So that's going to be fantastic for me personally, and hopefully of benefit to the city as well.
So potentially now it's a full-time job?
Well, effectively it's looking that way. That is the expectation, I believe, that the people who voted for me have, that I'll be able to dedicate a lot of time to the role, and that's my commitment.
Now, let's find out a little bit more about you. Well, what did you do before the council?
My wife and I, we actually own 2 businesses, and we still own them. One is called Fleur Foods, and it's a manufacturer of frozen convenience foods based in 15th Avenue, and we sell frozen foods all around New Zealand. I'm very fortunate. I've got a fantastic husband and wife team who are in there as managers of the business, and that has freed me up to do this. I couldn't have done this without them, so that's a fantastic business, and that's going to continue to go on the side. And then the other business is a private kindergarten, which is my wife's business, and she'll continue to do a fantastic job with those youngsters, young Taurangians growing up, and so she does a great job in that, and so that'll continue as well. We're very fortunate that our 3 children are all grown up and they've all left home, and so that has enabled me to take on this role.
Do you think all that business experience is going to help you in this role?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I did campaign on the fact that I had some business sense, and along with a lot of the other new councillors, I have to add, do have the business acumen that I believe will really help drive the city forward and make really good, strong, wise and often pragmatic decisions, which as business people we have to make every day.
Do you think that the previous council lacked a bit of that business leadership?
Well, I wouldn't want to say that, but I do know though that the business community, and there were several surveys around this, did feel that the council was not business friendly, and so that's something that I'm sure that as a new council will definitely address.
If you'd like to find out more about anything to do with the Tauranga Council, you can visit their website tauranga.gov.nz. Coming up next, Walk the Talk. Welcome back. We all know that abuse of women and children happens everywhere in the world, and most of us want to do something about it. But how many of us walk the talk?
Walk the Talk event that's coming up on the 16th of November is a Soroptimist International inspired event that is designed to say no to violence against women. It's a time where the United Nations sets aside 16 days for groups like ours to act in some way to promote the no to violence against women facet. So Soroptimists of the North region here are meeting in Matamata on November 16th, and we thought, perfect opportunity to say no to violence against women in a positive way, and we decided to do an event called Walk the Talk, and we're going to walk along the main street of Matamata peacefully. We're not sort of out there demonstrating rah, rah, rah. We're just quietly saying we don't condone any form of violence towards women. And if you want to join us, come on, do so. So that's what we're going to do. As well, we're going to host a special community information talk by a man called Alan Bell, and he's going to share his insights into something that I don't know whether Matamata would have too much knowledge about, but it's ending child prostitution and pornography and trafficking that unfortunately is happening here in New Zealand. So we're just there to raise awareness of some of these things.
I mean, I didn't realise it was happening. I mean, I knew it would happen in New Zealand, but not that much. I mean, is it that common in New Zealand? It's more common than you would think. I mean, prostitution itself, child prostitution itself, there was some research done in about 2008 to say that there's evidence of at least 200 child prostitutes in New Zealand. And we think, I mean, 2008's a long way down the track, just imagine what it is these days. Trafficking's a little different. New Zealand seems to be a transition space for international trafficking, stopping off in New Zealand before they move elsewhere. But unfortunately, there is internal trafficking within New Zealand, quite often disguised as kids being sent off to extended family members and so on and so forth. And in actual fact, they're being subjected to sexual abuse of all sorts of kinds. So it's out there, and Alan Bell can really fill us in with the details of those sorts of things. So who's Alan Bell? Alan Bell's the CEO of an organisation called ECPAT, and ECPAT is to end child prostitution, pornography and trafficking here in New Zealand. And he's done a lot of work in Thailand. There's been a lot of sex tourism, I think you might call it. And people tour to Thailand and places in Asia for the specific purposes of sex and all that goes with it. And children there are being exploited. And Alan was just horrified to find out about this, and he's become involved in making people aware, not just here in New Zealand, but all over the world. He's very into it, and he's kindly said yes, he'd come to Matamata for us and share that, his information and what he knows about it. And I guess, yeah, if something isn't done
and soon, if our generation don't get to know about it, we're just blithely going ahead thinking that the world's a reasonable place, but in fact there's some things out there that people need to be made aware of. And so you guys are going to be wearing orange, and you're wearing orange today. What's the significance of orange? Orange is the universal colour. It's a warning colour, and we're warning of the dangers of sexual abuse. And so worldwide, the wearing of orange indicates that we're out there warning people of the dangers and saying no to violence of any form in terms of women and children and so on. So orange is the colour of anti-violence. What days, just remind us quickly again, what days should we be wearing orange and what days can we walk the talk? This is what's going to be floating around, walking the talk on November the 16th, Saturday, November the 16th here in Matamata, and we'll be meeting at the Matamata Club, 12:15, and we'll be walking not on the street but on the footpaths so that we don't cause havoc or distraction to any traffic and so on. And we'll be walking up Broadway, depending on the weather, whether we include Arawa Street and so on. So between 12:15 and 1:15, you'll see these people dressed in orange walking the talk, and we're inviting the public to join us so they have an opportunity to give witness to their belief that there should be no violence towards women and no violence towards kids. So
It's definitely a strong message. Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
If you'd like to find out more about their Walk the Talk, you can visit Soroptimist International Southwest Pacific's website, which is siswp.org. Just ahead, gambling harm. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. The controversial Sky City deal has been passed, and the opposition is saying they will put a stop to it if voted in, as the harm far outweighs the need for an international convention centre. But how bad is problem gambling in our regions? Harriet found out about the sinking lid policy in Hamilton.
So first of all, Cheryl, tell us how your submission went and how it was received.
It was a really interesting process appearing in front of the council, and I can understand why some people find it daunting. But the councillors were really interested in what we had to say and wanted to know more about why a sinking lid would be important, why a true sinking lid would be important, and what impact it would actually have on problem gambling. Yeah, so it was good. They had lots of questions.
So what was the update that you received recently from Hamilton City Council on gambling policy?
Yeah, I actually thought it would be a quick sort of a process, the decision process and the outcome, but we have just got it recently, and we have still got our sinking lid, but it has some amendments that mean that venues can relocate, or at least they can apply to council to relocate. Yeah, so not quite what we were looking for.
So you're not happy with that?
We're actually really quite disappointed, because we had hundreds of submissions from the public saying, you know, they're not really wanting pokie machines and they're wanting less if possible, and it is a gradual process reducing them through a sinking lid. So yeah, it is disappointing. Only 16% of people actually use pokie machines, so there's an 84% that aren't using them, and they are most of our work in terms of problem gambling. They're causing most of the harm, so yeah.
Some people think that reducing the number of pokie machines won't actually go on to solve the problem, but rather just have a negative effect on the amount of grant funds available. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's more complicated than it sounds, because not all of the grants are, not all of the money goes back as it should to the community anyway, and not necessarily to the community that you're in. And the sinking lid policy really is a very gradual reduction of numbers over time of pokie machines. So as that funding really gradually reduces, it gives an opportunity for people to look at, well, how will we fund ourselves? In perhaps a way that isn't quite so what I would call double-edged in terms of, you know, getting money from people with gambling problems in the first place.
There has also recently been a release about how the gambling helpline has been working. Can you share with us a bit about those results?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? There was a lot in the press release. The gambling helpline does a really good service, because sometimes, well, often actually, people, when they realise that they have a problem and they want to do something about it, the more immediate the help is available, the better it is in a way. And so the gambling helpline are 24/7, and so people can just ring them, and at least they've got somebody that they can talk with and set something up. So yeah, really good result. The only thing that I wasn't so in agreement with, I suppose, was the figures that they gave for problem gambling, because the figures that often the industry quotes are don't take into account all the regular suffering that people have when they have a gambling problem. So it kind of minimises the number that we're dealing with as well. So there's definitely more problem gambling than was indicated in that release, yeah.
Do you think that this is an effective way to deal with the issues surrounding problem gambling?
I think our clients know best, actually. So really good as a first approach, really good way of accessing help and getting some choices. Some people are fine on the phone and they find it good, you know, being able to be anonymous and talk with somebody. And some people really want face-to-face counselling, so that they get given that option as well once they've engaged with the gambling helpline, what's going to suit them best. And I think clients do know, you know, what's going to work best for them.
So New Zealand Community Trust is at the moment trialling facial recognition software to help identify problem gamblers. Do you think that that could be effective?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's great technology, innovative guys who have created it. I guess the thing is that it deals with, as you say, identified problem gamblers. So people who already have a problem, it's going to help for them when they go into a venue and try and access a machine with the data stream, rather than somebody recognising their face from a photograph behind the bar or somewhere. But it doesn't address the prevention of harm from problem gambling. It only is the sort of ambulance at the bottom of the cliff idea, if you like. But nonetheless, yeah, great technology.
A lot of people don't really understand the cycle of gambling and what the addiction is all about. Can you sort of explain for us what that cycle is and how people get so far down that track?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for people to understand is why are you addicted to something when you're not ingesting anything or you're not using a substance of any kind. And really, yeah, we develop a physiological dependence, so our body gets dependent on the behaviour that we're doing because of our brain chemistry, which sounds really complicated, but what it means is we get little doses of brain chemistry that are letting us know in a physical sense that we feel calmer and happier using the machine, especially when we've been under stress. So just like some other people with addiction problems with substances would use that substance, it's the behaviour that we actually get dependent on. It's quite complicated though, eh?
So how did your gambling awareness event go?
Well, that was really fun. I always like getting out and talking with the public, and heaps of people share their stories. Lots of people know somebody with a gambling issue, and it's good for them to be able to just chat sort of more informally about it. Also helps with them, finding that, who are they going to be talking with if they come and approach us face to face. And so, yeah, and they can, of course, then share the information and free resources. We get to give away goodies and that kind of thing with their friends and family. And what I'm really hoping is that raises people's knowledge and awareness about it and helps people not become problem gamblers.
And what are your plans from this point going forward?
Yeah, lots of counselling work face-to-face is what the bulk of my work is. So that's working with people with gambling problems and the 5 to 10 people that are really close to them that get affected by their problem gambling. And also we'll continue with, trying to have a say everywhere we can about policy reviews, local councils and anything that's happening nationwide.
For help with problem gambling, visit the Problem Gambling Foundation of New Zealand's website, that is pgfnz.org.nz. That is Central News for tonight. If you have something you want to share with us, you can email us at news@tvcentral.co.nz or like us on our Facebook page. I will be back tomorrow night with more news and some tips on how to create a healthy Christmas dinner. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a good night.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.